wouldn't be an episode of Sad Boys if we didn't talk about AI.
Wait, where's the... Can you pass me that? Yeah, hold on, wait. Here it is. Fuck, shit. Okay. So
Here's the thing.
Yes!
So,
Tiny Jesus for you.
oh, thank you. A couple of things are happening at once, and I guess we're going to talk about all of them. So...
Like two Pokemon mashed together. We're going to make it all one thing.
Well, Meta, and that's pretty meta that you say that, because Meta has this thing that they do where they find a competitor and then they do everything that the competitor is doing and try to eat their lunch. It happened with Instagram store. I mean, they bought Instagram, then they tried to buy Snapchat. Snapchat didn't sell, so then they made they made Instagram stories, and then they got to buy WhatsApp. So okay, we don't need to do that. And then they the new thing, because Mark Zuckerberg is like, how can I continue to build my empire? Are like, okay, now we're gonna do a prediction market clone. They're working on that. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, so this is in the news and we don't need that. And they're it's gonna start with fake money, but then they're gonna essentially be able to flip the switch at some point and turn it into real money, which is crazy.
That's terrifying.
And it's like, what will they think of next? Well, this is the Facebook that, I mean, the new social network movie is about the whistleblow that happened with Frances Haugen, one of my former coworkers, who revealed that Facebook was doing a bunch of shady shit with regard to kind of bearing the lead on the mental health impact that their app was having on teens, and a treasure trove of other stuff. Meta's behind in the AI race. I don't know if you remember when they were doing the thing where you could talk to your favorite celebrities via chatbot.
Yeah, talk to like Jommy Beast.
They're offering so much money to keep their AI staff and to build and to get people to come over. Like, for example, they bought Scale AI, basically just acquiring the CEO so that he could lead AI stuff. But they're behind, so they need to do anything they can do to get ahead. One of the stories, this is from last week that we didn't even get to, Meta paid contractors to pose as teens and probe rival chatbots with disturbing and bizarre prompts involving self-harm, sex, eating, like EDs, drugs, and child safety scenarios. So that's the first thing.
Paying contractors to role play that with
so that they can
ChatGPT,
so that they can make ChatGPT and Claude and all them do something wrong, misstep.
Oh,
then you can screenshot it.
Wow.
And then you can be like, wow, pretty crazy. And then you screenshot it, you send it to a journalist, and you say, breaking.
Can you believe Kevin Durant did this with an Apple?
Exactly.
Some people were speculating that it was also like to compare their responses to all of these AI chatbot companies are trying to walk a very fine line between giving people unlimited access to AI powers or whatever, but also trying to have safeguards so that they're not liable for what their product tells people.
They're in the race to be the industry default before everyone realizes that the industry is completely unviable.
And this is a very real concern to have, because we have already had numerous horrible events that have happened under the quote unquote supervision of one of these chatbots. And there have been multiple instances with OpenAI where they like someone has said something concerning to the chatbot, and it was actually on the radar of the higher ups in the company, and they were choosing whether or not to take any intervention action, and they ended up not. And then there was one where a mass shooting happened.
I mean, this would be diligent if they were doing it to their own and, testing the parameters of it, right? But like doing it exclusively, not to, improve their own quality, but just it's what's the fuck is it called? Like corporate espionage.
Yeah. It's like Oppo research also, but Meta has like a million bajillion employees, but then they have even more contractors that they employ because of the trust and safety concerns that they have, and so they have. We've seen stories before about the people who have to monitor the trust and safety stuff for Facebook and the horrible things they've had to see. Anyway, it's just like it's like a whole Pandora's box that like no one asked for, but there were billions of dollars on the line, so it's being forced down our throats.
You need more tokens. Sign up for the enterprise level.
Yeah, the prompts were often designed to push, this is from Wired, the prompts were often designed to push the chatbots towards responses their safety systems were supposed to refuse. According to instructions describing the project. The companies behind the chatbots weren't aware of the testing.
Why is there not a big red stamp that says none of these words can happen? None of these conversations can happen. I don't care about the model. You cannot talk about this topic. Change it every time. Like, why? You can, like, swag out getting almost any of these chatbots to say the N-word.
I think,
why is it not banned? Like, as opposed to the method?
So there is usually something like that.
Blacklist, I guess?
As a layer that sits, because like my understanding is that the LLMs are like this black box, a black box that's weighted and trained over all of these like inputs and fed all of this data. And then that black box, many layers sit on top of that to then communicate with the black box. But like the black box itself is not understood.
Yeah.
The black box itself is truly the best pattern matching math you've ever seen. It basically is taking the inputs, turning them into numbers, crunching, doing a bunch of like linear algebra and shit on the numbers based on the math, spitting out numbers, then
the oracles.
And then translating that into speech, and then that goes to another layer that's like, all right, here's what the oracle said.
Yeah.
We now need to transform this into something we can show to a customer.
And they tell the above layer on a bad telephone line that, and they go like,
well,
I think I got it.
The thing is, like, I don't know if there's a term for this, but the reason, we still see this today, a lot of the like support bots and things like that, or even the games that are the Riz app or whatever, where it's like you're trying to Riz up a thing. They're usually prompting with like, you are an expert software engineer with 100 years of experience. You know this, that, and the other thing. And then it is trying to map to that identity, but this is an actual sentience. This is, I put numbers in a black box, I get numbers out. There are going to be edge cases in which the black box returns something horrible, and then it happens to dodge because the rules that are developed by humans are fallible. It's kind of like the law where like someone loses a court case where you know the bad thing really happened and you know the person's really guilty of it, but due to some sort of like loophole, they're able to, get out of it. It's kind of like that. And the reason, and you could have a layer on top of all of this that says never show the N-word.
Right.
But because of the academic research and stuff with AI, there are going to be contexts where you need to show the N-word.
Right.
And so how do you filter the appropriate context for the appropriate audience? That is the problem that is solved whenever these things leak. That is a problem that's solved with a bunch of like text lines that are like, please be nice to me, please be nice to me, that are just like lots of like begging the thing to do the right thing.
I think I am actually not necessarily in the camp of ban that, don't let it ever say that word under those circumstances, like it sure, whatever. That it's more so, hey, I'm a hyper-cynical, baby blood drinking CEO ghoul. Why am I letting this happen?
Right.
I don't care about the academia.
And so that is like the thing that translates your query into a query of the black box is also fraught. You know what I mean? Like it has its issues because the black box itself doesn't have any rules
that we know of.
I mean, it's like I'm talking now a little bit out of my depth, but what I think is happening is you need to do natural language processing on the text that's fed in, and you have to understand that text because at the end of the day, a human speaks a sentiment to a computer, and that sentiment needs to be, the computer isn't sentient, so it needs to be translated into something the computer can understand. And that process is imperfect. And so...
And impossible to, because it then has to be
because
passed back through
at a
the same
certain
veil,
point,
right?
you have to have a function essentially that says like, scan natural language for concerning concepts, let's say. And that is usually a system that's written by AI, which has false positives, or it's a combination of that sort of system with a whitelist, blacklist type thing that has a bunch of like rules to it. The AI systems have false positives, and the rules have like mistakes.
Sure.
And then not to mention multiply that by every single language.
From every single individual
From
user
every single
might be using regional euphemisms.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
going up the apple and pear.
So that because we don't really have the oracle. That's why this can happen.
We just have the oracle.
Is because we kind of went to market with something that was like super pattern matching bot.
Yes.
And it's like it can do these amazing matches of patterns.
It's our dark patron.
But then we're asking it like, okay, can you diagnose me with a disease?
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. And it's like,
is that part of
it can do amazing stuff. Like I undeniably like,
it's frustrating that it is being so publicly, the concept even is being publicly poisoned by the utility that.
Yeah, that's the thing that frustrates me the most. Well, not the most, but the thing that frustrates me the most is the tech industry moving in lockstep to like extract as much value from the populace and as much power as possible.
Symptom of.
But then one of the things is that like, look, from a technical standpoint, like the fact that I can take a giant stack trace, which is like what happens when like there's an exception in the code or an error, or like, for example, a program crashes and you get that like Mac window that has a big like thing of text.
Error report type thing.
An error report. The fact that I can paste that mini character thing into an AI that can then process it and tell me what's happening, that has a lot of value.
That's a big deal.
Like in a lot of the technical stuff, I think like has a lot of value, but combined with the like capitalist forces, because the profit motive is also inspiring people to, I don't know if you've seen anything about like pitch decks and how people like present companies to investors and stuff, but they're essentially like lying.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to tell the truth, but at the end of the day, they're saying that I think that my company can capture this $1 trillion market, and here's why we're the best people to do that.
I might have even contributed to
and that may inspire people to make claims. I mean, look at Theranos. That may inspire people to make claims that they cannot back up. And then they eventually find themselves in a jinkies. I actually bought commercial blood testing machines, and we've been feeding our stuff into commercial machines to fudge the numbers when like Bill Clinton comes to like check out our systems. You know what I mean? And
you gotta start hitting the jinkies. I really liked you using jinkies.
But that is
and you got the glasses.
It's the glasses, yeah. I do think that's downstream of just like profit.
Yeah.
Like because the pressures that are on each cog in the system usually comes down to profit. And there's a reason we weren't talking about most of the stuff when OpenAI was a nonprofit company.
Yeah. And why it's like less threatening. Like the utility that is threatening is the utility that like automation is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Quality of life and this danger of making a Toyota, not getting your fucking head crushed in the assembly line. Good to reduce that. But the question mark was, hey, I mean, is anybody losing a gig here? Can all of these people transfer over to people that maintain the machine themselves? Blah, 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 blah. That was the pitch. Didn't work out. Lots of people
And it's like the most evil of forces are saying, we don't care about your plight.
Yeah.
Get with the times or else.
Yeah, it's happening.
And that's the like move fast and break things mentality that was popularized by Facebook. That was a thing in their offices, like a poster that was like on the walls.
Do you remember us dropping that? Patrons was fast as hell.
Oh yeah.
We were like, I don't know, a year in maybe? And they were like, we realize this is kind of stupid. It's like potentially hazardous and doesn't account for people's well-being.
Because you need, exactly. It's like, and those are the things that, well, Facebook doesn't want to account for people's well-being. I sent Anastasia this thing because I might want to make a video on some of these posts, but to get the sentiment, this is a real LinkedIn post, as far as I know. Now, imagine giving this person untold powers. Okay. My new hire takes a full hour for lunch every single day. They close their laptop and walk completely out of the building. Yesterday, I mentioned that the rest of the team usually eats at their desks to keep the momentum going. I explicitly told them that they can do what they want, but culture matters. By the way, that's a fucking
culture
dog whistle.
Yeah.
This morning, they handed me a formal complaint from HR about toxic work boundaries. As in their employee complained to them about toxic work boundaries. They were probably right to do so. I am completely blindsided. I did not tell them they could not eat.
It's almost certainly not what the complaint was.
I just pointed out how the high performers handle their time. Well, sorry, I'm going to hold myself. It feels like the new generation wants the paycheck, but none of the actual dedication. If you want a typical 9-to-5 job, then maybe a high growth startup is not for you. Am I crazy, or is basic work ethic just completely dead these days?
You're crazy.
Yeah, they're crazy.
You're just not alive. You're absent humanity. That's the problem. It's because you're not eating the lunch. So you're like, well, why would somebody want nice? Just eat turds.
The crazy thing to me, though, is that like a very basic concept that is not understood is that the higher ups have a extreme financial upside in the success of the company. And the lower you go down the hierarchy, the lower the rung on that ladder, you find yourself with someone who maybe doesn't have stock compensation as a part of the thing, or it's so minuscule that it does not make financial sense for them to give up so much of their time and person to
being a
the company.
high performer for what? Like in like a religious, spiritual sense, it's good.
Also, that manager is a bad manager, because that manager should be also concerned about burnout.
Yeah.
Burnout is a very real thing. And if someone needs to take 1 hour where they're outside of the building, you should respect that. And it's very like old thinking.
It's very old thinking.
It's move fast, break people.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'll just use them for biofuel and hire a new person.
Yeah.
That costs less.
As someone who like once drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And someone who wanted to be a 10x engineer or a high performer, these are like terms that people in the tech industry probably have scars about. Now, looking at this, seeing a manager talk about their high performance, it feels like, look at these people I was able to trick.
Yeah.
Look at these people I've got bought in where...
My bugs.
Yeah, where like they're not making nearly enough money to justify this, and I stand to gain so much if this is successful. Now, that's not always the case, because like, you know, we worked at a startup, and like, yes, there are like stuff about going above and beyond. I felt like I had stock-based compensation as a part of my pay package. I thought it was fair, and it is lottery tickets. Like when you're working at a startup, it's just complete lottery tickets. And I had to, know that I wouldn't have, I basically had to value that at zero and then be like, am I willing to risk, joining this company at the early stage that it's in and giving a lot of my energy and time and
prime year, like
in prime years,
hireability years.
And that was like a calculus that I was willing to make at that time, and it worked for me. But to project that expectation onto anyone who just wants a job. Yeah. Maybe the high growth startup was the only place hiring because they're high growth.
Yeah. And you have like, for a company that makes like RGB shoelaces or something, you're like, no, that stock incentive is nothing really.
There's a new company that's creating drones to shoot down mosquitoes, little drones to follow around mosquitoes, and they want to eradicate mosquitoes.
They're thinking of spiders.
Yes. Anyway.
Shout out to spiders.
So this is one of the things Facebook is doing. And then last but not least, just to end on an absolute high note and give everyone positive feelings about the world, 26 Meta employees are suing Meta, alleging that the company used AI to drive their layoffs, which ended up targeting disproportionately people on medical leave, people with different medical needs or parental leave. What was the other thing? Family leave. Yeah.
Yeah, I get. They're really not punctual during their vacation. Weirdest thing.
Well, also if someone had permanent physical needs from the company where it's like they have a medical condition, they have a different need than other employees, they were targeted by this.
This
And,
is
yeah,
so
like,
dystopian, by the way, to read.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, already.
They're among, so Facebook is like laying off like 8,000 people, or about 10% of its workforce, which is gigantic. When I was in college, I think Facebook had 200 employees when I talked to them at the career fair at college. That's how small it was back then.
But now that thankfully they've done so many great things, burning all this money.
Oh my God! So
they
dude,
moved the
I
typeface
dodged.
around. They changed the logo a little bit.
There's so many things that I dodged, man. I could have been working there. Meta said it with. Oh yeah, the lawsuit filed late Monday in federal court in Oakland, California, claims the company used internal AI systems, keystroke and activity monitoring data, AI token usage. So that's like Claude tokens and stuff, and algorithmically assisted performance rankings, among other methods, to determine who would be laid off.
Okay, I'm getting triggered by keystroke and activity.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that is like, it's not unlike the LinkedIn we read a second ago. When you rely on stuff like that, or like amount of time spent, messages sent in the Slack, engagement, number of emails put out, received, etc.
It's not about who's doing the best work. It's about who's doing the most.
Bad manager. Yeah. You are bad at your job because you're using the easy, dumb tracker as opposed to like thinking critically and being proactive. It's like these are the landlords that won't fix anything. They are I'll just take the easiest path, whatever. What the fuck do I care about your well-being? There was a period of time where we introduced like some activity monitoring, not like time at desk, etc., but like conversations had, meetings taken with creators, support provided, and we did it for like a quarter, and I ended up pushing back on it because it literally had it reflected me as the lowest performer when I was the highest performer, because they'd been there longer and the things I was doing worked quicker. I got fewer questions because I answered the question for the first time. It's like, it truly is just like, you don't see these as people. These are ants. These are bugs to me.
Well, and
they're
it's
not
easier
carrying
to
it.
game this system.
It's so easy to game.
I could just be like, okay, I'm going to use more words in emails and Slack
It's so easy.
in order to look like I'm doing more work.
Webster's dictionary defines this email as,
I mean, this is a thing. This is like a classic pitfall of like measuring software engineers. There's this thing called the lamppost fallacy, which basically says that if you lose your keys at night and there's a lamppost that shines a light on the street, you're more likely to look under where the light is. And the way that it's applied would be like, you tend to focus on what is measured and what is easy to see. And so the easiest measurable thing for a programmer is like lines of code. And that is like a horrible way of measuring anything. And
because they want measurables that can then go up to an executive level where nobody does this job.
Exactly.
And they can be like, oh, right, that makes sense.
You need basically like a VP of engineering or something, or a CTO that like is able to do that translation. That they trust, or else you get situations where there's a lot of pressure on engineering to have unrealistic outcomes because they don't have a realistic understanding of what they can possibly do within a reasonable time frame.
Yeah, it's like if you define somebody by like customers spoken to, and it's like, oh, well, this person spoke to 1,000 people while they're working at the Ralphs, and then it's like, yeah, but they punched all of them in the arm every time. I'm like, oh, well, that's not very good.